I'm definitely live again. I see myself here. And the video is not stopping, so I don't know what was going on. But things seem to be better. I'm just gonna restart the intro for Krista. Hello, and welcome to Dolphin's Dive, the weekly strategically minded Handelabra stream hosted by Logic Dolphin and now on Mondays. Handelabra believes in civil rights for everyone and be as inclusive as possible, so any comments or activity actively working against those goals are not welcome and will not be tolerated. You can follow us at Handelabra Games on Twitch and Handelabra on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. You can follow me personally at Logic Dolphin on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and pretty much any avenue. Sentinels of the Multiverse, Bottom of the Ninth, One Deck Dungeon, Aeon's End, and Spirit Island are all available on Steam, iOS, and Android devices, and One Deck Dungeon is also available on Switch, and you can find more information on those games at handelabra.com. Alright, second go at the intro was fun. Let's now play games. I do apologize about the disruption, people, but we shall get going. We're gonna go with one of Twitch's servers ate some bad cheese. That might be what was happening, because I just stopped streaming and then I did a quick stream test privately and it said it was fine. It dropped 0 frames across a minute, which is not that long of a time, but now I've streamed 2 minutes, which is twice as much time, and it's dropped 0 frames. So maybe I connected to a bad server or something. So I'm gonna just hit quick play here. I'm gonna do 2, 8 to 10, and we'll just see what happens. Bam! The Kingdom of France, level 3, scenario powers long forgotten. And then that starts stuff going on. Okay, cool. We have shadows and we have keeper. And they already used up the wilds. That's actually kind of nice. All right, so, hey, we're live again. I believe that's, yep, it went off again. But hello, King Banhammer, by the way, welcome. So it's powers long forgotten, which means 4 mysterious locations are added to each board and lands without Dahan. Out of all the locations, a total of 1 per board plus 1 contains a source of power, and the remaining locations contain nothing. So 2 boards, so there's 3 sources of power. And they are, and whenever a land has 3 Dahan or more in it, the players search it. When a land has 3 or more invaders, because it's France, the invaders search it. When a land is searched, reveal the mysterious location. If it does not have a power source, discard it. Otherwise, consult the reverse side of this card for what it does. When you find a source of power, you may choose to hold off on using its ability. At the end of the game, you score plus 2 points for each one you find but never use. And it's France 3, which means limit of 7 towns per player. So there's 14 towns minus the 6 on the board right now. Escalation: after exploring on each board, pick a land of the shown terrain. If it has buildings, add a blight, otherwise add a town. And we also have, after invaders successfully explore into a land which had no buildings, add an explorer there. Did I read these titles up? Demand for new cash crops. Frontier explorers. Slave labor, which puts slave rebellion in. And after invaders build a land with 2 explorers or more, replace all but 1 explorer there with an equal number of towns. And early plantations. During setup on each board, add a town to the highest numbered land without towns and add a town to land number 1. So there's a town to land number 1. And either 7 or 8, depending on where the pre-placed town was, I guess. And I guess this one had a town in land 6, and they put it in land 8, right? According to the rules. Highest numbered land without town, yeah. So, because it's France, we're not immediately at risk of exploring. Or whatever the word is. Search. We're not in risk of searching. The build in B4 is not gonna search, and the others, this one had a wild, so they didn't explore it, and then the other 2 had Dahan, so they're not sources. And even with the explorers, They would add an additional explorer if it didn't have a building in it. But all the ones with explorers were, of course, the ones that were just explored, so really we're just at risk of losing it next round. We do have Shadows. Shadows is really good at gathering Dahan. We could explore B6, for instance, this turn if we so wanted. We could probably get the Dahan here and start shuffling it down over here to get these 4 searched. Keeper could try to get stuff going with Sacred Sites, but not this turn. You do have a thing that pushes, or no? Yeah, you do push. And a land without Blight. But your presence also generally goes in lands without Blight, so these Dahan and the Blight land are a bit hard to work around. Also, of course, we should consider the fact that B8 is where Shadows is, and that's a danger place for just Ravage, but Shadows doesn't inherently have something that could help out there. B4 is also a problem, but we can gather that Explorer, most likely, if we do Darkness Swallows. I probably just want to make B5 a Sacred Site or something. We could, of course, gather into B7 if we so wanted, but that's a bit dangerous because if they do explore mountains next, that will get 3 explorers, which will then... Oh no, it doesn't even have a source of power, never mind. That'd be fine then. So standard start for Keeper, at least for me, gets to 2 card plays or a Sun, depending on what my power I see is. So I go Power. D. Renewing Rain is not really good elements, but it does add wilds. Act is good elements and potentially helpful. It can gather Dahan into B8 and kill the city that builds there. Would like to finish this turn with 2 energy if we can, so we can do double presence next turn. If I only play 1 card and that card is packed, if I go Sun, I get 2 Suns. This has a plant on it, so I add a wild. So I do get my spreading wilds. So that's probably okay. Does nothing for the Ravage in C1. Or B4? Well, we're gathering B4 most likely. And then we're gonna do Act on B8. Doesn't really influence favors. So the problem with putting the Dahan in B6, for instance, is that if they're exploring wetlands, that's fine because we want to get this land not to do the discover or search, not to do the search. But if they explore sands, we can't hit C2 with it anyway. If they do mountains, B2 has a disease and that's fine, and C7... Well, that could be pushed here, right? It has no explorers added wilds, but that doesn't stop buildings from affecting that. So yeah, we could push the explorer out with the thingamabobber. And if they do sands, they put 2 explorers here, but potentially Shadows could deal with those explorers. So I'm gonna do this for the energy because reasons. Get that Sacred Site there. The Dahan thing. Oh yeah, we can also stop the Ravage outright if we do Mantle. We could put them into B7, which is not a place of source of power. That gives us 2 moons, 1 sun, or 1 fire. And we still can do that next turn. And we would want to get a moon fire card with our minor power choice next turn if we want to do the Darkness Swallows power, which is at least, it does kind of help against. Not bad. And Keeper can only put this because the wilds, there's no wild, so it has to go there. And we're gonna do Act. We have 1 fast power. That's bad. That wouldn't really change anything. Spends energy, spends energy. So the options are B1 and B7. We're not playing France 4, so we don't have to worry about coastal cities as much. If they explore B7, then there's going to be 3 explorers in there. But if they explore B1, there's going to be 2 explorers, which means it's a city and a town that gets built. Is it built or replaced? It's replaced, so it's not even a build. Actions that prevent a build don't necessarily stop the town. Although, yeah, they do have to build, but, like, yeah, can't stop the towns, per se. I mean, if we prevent the build, then there's no build that happens, so yeah, technically we'd... But for each town that builds in the land would probably not trigger if there was language that mattered. So... let's just put you in this mountain. It's not doing much. Sands. Okay. So we do the pact here. Kill the city. Favors called. We only need 3 Dawn. We explore with 3. Or search with 3. Monday, Monday, Monday. Hello, John. We're playing Spirit Island because I didn't play it on Saturday. If I leave that Dahan there, it's at risk of conversion by the city. And that's kind of bad because we have limited towns. So I'm just going to gather all of them. We're going to move those guys out, right? So, yeah. And we have found nothing! We do have to worry about the B5 thing, of course, but... this... don't go... I mean, it's 50-50 whether it's mountain or wetland. Wetland might be better because... we're hedging our bets here. If it's a mountain, it's a little better than if it's a wetland, at least. Well, I mean, I guess, like, there's an argument that we want places to have buildings so they don't add extra explorers, but then that means they build cities. Like, if I put in B7, there's a guaranteed city build at B6 or B7 unless I can do something with the towns. But if I put it all into B6 and try to create a centralized thing and then they explore the mountains, there's 4 explorers in B7. So 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Guess I could just put them where the Dahan are. And then maybe we could defend it or something if it becomes a problem. So, for those of you just tuning in, John, I hit quick play, and it gave me France 3 with powers long forgotten, and so we shall. One of the nice things that you don't get to do in multiplayer just yet is hitting quick play and playing a game without having to ask what should we play today. So, this doesn't stop any build. You're gonna ask me to scoot over to see the adversary. Oh yeah, I'm in the way, aren't I? Bam. There you go. I'm gonna have to move that again when we play Sentinels though, but there you go. Yeah, so I can't stop any builds with this. The disease in C2 means they're not searching C2. And B3's not searching. I could try to put my Dahan, or my wilds in a land with Dahan so that I could create a sacred site and push them. But there isn't an adjacent land that has... that would make it matter, because of course all the starting lands have 1 or 2 Dahan in them, and the mysterious powers sources are in lands without Dahan. So it's kind of just a question of where do I want to be then. Probably in a land with invaders, assuming that I trigger something like Towering... well, not even Towering Wrath, but... like if I want to do Punish Those Who Trespass, I want to be in a land with buildings, right? But am I playing Towering Wrath next turn to do damage and then damage? Maybe, because we kind of have to do damage, don't we? C1's Blight, and that's okay. Everything else is dealt with. How many towns are we at risk of this next turn? 6 towns? Yikers. But we can at least stop one of the towns with shadows. I guess I'm playing Concealing Shadows next turn, which is then a question of where could I use it, and the answer is not really anywhere because I'm not going to have the energy to hit lands with Dahan, I don't think. Unless, like, this power card is exceptionally bad, in which case I take Presence off Energy Track instead. Like, my go-to for Shadows is usually get to 3 card plays right away, and then fix your energy problem. But, these 2 cards cost 1 energy, so I need to find a free card with Moon and Fire to have most effect. But yeah. This does do damage based on wilds in target land, is the thought. I could put a wilds in B3. Build the 2 explorers, and that thereby stops 2 towns. That's a thought. And it pushes the Dahan, which is good. We can get them pushed into B4 and then like do a Sacred Slate in C3 in a future turn to push more Dahan over there. These lands are just kind of going to be terrible then? We're going to have Blight City over here? Oh, but I can't do the wilds here because I can only push 1 explorer. But I could go here instead and use Sacrosanct to kill that town, which gives me a fear, which gives us a fear card. Seems fine. And let's not forget that we have we have the Slave Rebellion, and that card is under the top 3 cards of the event deck. So, except I'm not playing with events. Whoops. Okay, well, we don't have a Slave Rebellion then because we're not playing with events. Okay. I keep forgetting that the last time I played Spirit Island, I was doing it in a speedrun setting, so I turned off events. I gotta, like, turn them back on. Okay, well, that's fine. Means we don't have Slave Rebellion, which means that this Trance 2 is slightly worse. But we don't have events, so we know exactly what things are doing. But the beasts are now sad. Alright, Shadows gets power. We do have Moon and Fire, but it costs an energy. But Entrancing Apparitions is anti-France. That said, it's not good for B5. It's good for B3 potentially. Choose C3 once I put presence down. Gather those 2 explorers and stop that build. Gives a moon, which is okay. Costs 1 energy. But it's not the good elements card, so we would probably just take energy track this turn anyway. We don't need to play all of our cards. But we also know that we have a power card over here, so this is gonna be going here. Because that's really the only place that makes sense for that. And then power. And it's gonna be minor. Steam Vents! None of these are plant cards. 2 of these are sun cards. Encompassing Ward might be. Guardian Serpents might be good for B5 next turn if we don't do anything with it. I mean, Shadows by himself can't even destroy it entirely because he can kill 2 explorers with his 2nd level innate, but we're not hitting it. And even then it gathers an explorer anyway, so it would still leave an explorer behind. Steam Vents actually would be interesting because it does prevent a town if I grow into like C6. Guardian Serpent seems pretty good though. Both of these spirits are pretty big on sacred sites. Because the only other element than plant that we would care about is sun and air or fire and air, and none of these cards give it other than Steam Fence, which gives both. Just a question of what we would want to be doing with these things, but Sacrosanct and C7 I think is still what we want. That will leave us with 2 energy. Could do Gnawing Root Biters, a free town push for 2 towns at range 1. Means that we could just push the things out of C6. I think Guardian Serpents would be a little nicer. We don't have to play it this turn is the thing, I guess. We're not getting a Sacred Site in C1. It'd be better next turn for like B5. Okay. The Guardian Serpents here. Now I was curious, can I change my mind on where I put my presence now? And I can. Which is nice, because now I don't have to worry about... Well, is that kind of cheating now? Isn't that kind of cheating now? Because, I could only put that presence before I got the power card, so this is future knowledge thing. I was wondering whether I could move the presence somewhere else, but that's not, that's not how you should do it. That's cheating. I'm gonna take Inflame. No, not Inflame. I don't have animals. You do have 1 animal, but not 3. And Entrancing is just so much better here. I want to entrance into C3. This is range 1 presence, so it's either B4 or B7. I'm gonna go into B4. Beast 4. So if I want to gather an explorer, it's gonna be this card. We're not concealing shadows this turn. Which is fine. Oh yeah, this presence is... oh, and I think I technically cheated already because I moved the wrong presence because I took off energy track instead of card plays track. That's really what I was thinking about, was do I need 2 card plays this turn? Theoretically, the smart thing for me to have done was to have taken off energy track, and then once I saw the card I chose, I would have decided whether I want another energy or card play, but I didn't do that, and so it's cheating to not do that, so. And this is, sorry, range 3 presence, so it can go anywhere as long as it doesn't have blight. Anywhere at range 3, so I can't even reach. I can reach B6. How am I seeing B6? Oh, because apparently C3, B7, B6 is a shorter distance than the straight line. That is so weird. The shortest distance between any 2 points is a straight line, except when you're playing Spirit Island. I could put a presence in B6 and then next turn Sacred Site that to push Dahan along. That seems pretty nice. Plus I get to be in B6 in case I need to do stuff in there. End run, it's invalid. I think that's nice. Like I still don't really care about C6 or or C2. Presence in C3 to push Dahan isn't going to do much. I think this is the best bet, since it's a big bunch of Dahan that can create a source of power or create a search. So we don't need that this turn. Do we need Sacrosanct? Because if I don't play it, I could play 2 cards that... I gotta play these 2. Which isn't necessarily the best, but... Actually, this is really nice because then Shadows could not reclaim and can take another power and get to 3 card plays and play 3 cards. That seems fine. And I still get 2 energy, so I can do the double presence next turn thing. Does mean I'm not doing much with the sands, but we do have a option for B5, B3's taken care of, and I guess these 2 are blighting, so sure. Nice if there were Dahan in one of those lands. We don't want to entrancing in here because that would mean they would search if they explore jungles. We're not at risk of a search, right? Because either mountains or wetlands, which is the only wetland power or location, whatever. And then the other 2, not as much. Yeah. So that. And then I mean, we do know that they're not there are no events, so they're not doing we could put an Explorer B4 safely. But if they do explore jungles in the next turn, it's not good. Not this turn, but the next turn, because of stage 2. Actually, oh yeah, well yeah, we're gathering the Explorer out of B5. That way we're not worried about the search there. Just gonna put you into Keeper Land. Bye, Dahan. Yeah, we didn't actually get a fair card because we didn't kill the town in C7. So now wetlands are scary. C8 is at risk. Although we could do Spreading Wilds in here just to stop that, and we could explore or put presence in there and then do Sacrosanct in there. Well, first let's do power on Shadows. They're not Moonfire. In fact, none of these are Moon, so that's kind of annoying. But Call to Migrate. It's Call to Migrate. There's like, I don't care about the other cards. It's Call to Migrate. Call to Migrate is my great card. Blight. So this is the only one that I can hit with that. So. I think stopping the search in C8 is good. Only have 2 suns? Yeah, 2 suns, so I only get to push 1 explorer. If I can't stop C5 or put a presence or wilds in there, I could put a wilds in B1, not B6. I'm just gonna do it here. And you can go into not that mountain because they might explore there, and that would be a search. So I could target any land with Dahan with this. For the cost of 1 energy. We do have +1 energy. So we actually have energy profit now. We also have Call to Migrate, which costs 1 energy, which is, we'll have that 1 energy next turn, but that does force us to do a card with no cost next turn if I did that. I could just convert this to an Explorer. Now we're gonna do Guardian Serpents in there, like, almost surely. Like, we're gonna be playing these 2 cards almost surely, unless the power we find is that good. Theoretically, we can get to 3 card plays if we so wanted. And do minor power keeper. But he's only gonna have 4 energy if he does that. And oh, he's gonna have a +1. He'll have 5 energy. This costs 3, so if he finds a card that's free, it would theoretically be okay. But at that point, we're also, like, running out of cards and we're going to have to reclaim. That's kind of why I don't like going up the card plays track so quickly on Keeper, because that means I have to reclaim earlier. Unless I get to 5, and then I can reclaim 1 every turn, but then I'm playing 4, like I'm losing 4 cards per hand if I play all my cards. Anyway. If I'm spending an energy, where would be the best place to do it? The places with cities don't have Dahan. So it would just be replacing a town, which is fine for France. We could also just replace this town for free. It doesn't do, like, it doesn't progress us anywhere because we're getting a defend 4 on there, but I guess Concealing Shadows has to be used, or it has to be used. No, it can be used. But if it's going to be used most effectively, it wants to be used in a land where Shadows isn't, because we don't want to sacrifice a Shadows presence most likely, so I guess we save the energy for Concealing Shadows then. We could target like C6, which isn't that effective, but does kill a town. Unless towns get +1 health from the event. But wait, there's no event. Well, that would have been a nice, well, maybe not a nice keeper card. There's no fire here. There is a moon. Moon's the primary thing. If we get a moon, we can gather an explorer, which doesn't stop much except a second town in B6, or not even second town, but the town plus the city. Twilight Fog is free and adds a strife and pushes a Dahan. And then Gift of Power is something that Seamus would reference, talk about, mention, name drop. Drift Down is defend 4 this turn now. And it's range 2. But it doesn't give the moon, so we don't get the gather. It just stops a blight in C2. Like, we're gonna put the Sacred Site in B6 with Keeper, which is going to give us an Explorer in B, or a Search in B5, and that's gonna happen I guess this should happen right now. I'm gonna go to 5 energy. I'm gonna do it right now because I could always get to C8. The other power. I want the Sacred Site in B6, and I also want to probably go into C8 as well. Maybe. I don't know, I can actually deal with C8. But I'm definitely doing this, so it might as well be this option. Aha! All powers have +1 range! That is really nice. Powers do not gather push invaders unless Spirit spends an extra energy, so thank goodness we didn't get that one. Alright, all powers have +1 range. So that means Concealing Shadows is now +1 range. Doesn't mean that much this turn. Unless we were to like put stuff in B3 or something. Because we still can't hit C6 even with the presence, because can only do presence at range 1. Let's see what this power is. I'm gonna do another minor, maybe start doing majors next turn. Call the Dahan Ways. Interesting. Purifying Flame is actually like all the elements: sun, fire, plant, air. So like I would want it, theoretically. One damage per blight. If target is mountain sands, remove the blight. Or instead remove blight. And that does counter the jungle wetlands here, so we would have complete control of blight removal. 1 damage per blight's kind of bad, but... I do like the elements on it. Is it worth keeping now? Push up to 3 Dahan. Means we could just keep doing the search party. But we're playing Call to Migrate with Shadows already, which deals with B4 and B2. But Rights of the Lands rejection doesn't actually... Oh, but it does say do not build, and that could just hit C5, and then they don't build 2 towns, and it just stops 2 towns like right away. It seems really nice. We could start doing the push up to 3 Dahan once there's lands with 3 Dahan on this board. But for that to happen, we have to start doing stuff on this board. I really like this. I'm going to take it regardless of the elements. Even though the other card was really nice elements. It's not all about the elements here. Speaking of elements, we need a moon. Does 3 range on this change anything? Defend 4 is not enough for C6. I mean, we're gathering Explorer into B5 because that's going to be defended, and the Explorer dies in the Ravage, and there's no phrase pending the event to worry about. Guess we could take Twilight Fog if we want air. Although our air situation is, like, not an issue at all when all but one of our cards has air on it. So it's not a concern. I feel like gathering 1 is more important than defend 4, especially because we don't have anything for C6. Yeah, like this isn't going to do anything. I think what does need to happen... I could play this to push 2 Dahan, which would be rather silly, but... Actually, if I did push 2 Dahan, then I do push 3. I do get a search out of that. Because like C2 is at risk of... Actually, if I do that, then I want to defend forward C2, don't I? I could push out of C6 into C5, push from C5 into C2. They explore C2, or search C2. Ugh, saying the wrong word. They search C2. And then I can defend that and they kill the stuff. So, yeah, doesn't have the moon. That's the best way of dealing with that. The alternative is I don't defend it, but I just have them take no damage. And I put a presence in C3. With the +1 range, then I don't pay energy to do that. Maybe that's a little better. Lit up blight. But the plan was already for it to blight anyway. But we get to save a Dahan that way. And then we can start doing like the Dahan train this way. It's just the Dahan train. Jeez. Gift of Power, maybe? I like Twilight Fog for the Strife. I also like Gift of Power for the power to Keeper, and next turn we could do 3 card plays easily. If I'm playing these 2 cards, I will have 2 energy left over, so I can still do double presence. Oh, but I guess the problem is I'm not doing Guardian Serpents if I'm doing that. In which case, B5 blights instead. That's the problem with what I want to do with Keeper. Is there anything wrong with just pushing 2 Dahan out? Other than we lose this Dahan, but there are enough adjacent Dahan anyway. Put 2 Dahan in there and it's enough damage. We don't get the Explorer, or we don't get the Search. I guess the risk is that because this is France and the escalation is next, if they do Explorer Sands, there's gonna be 2 Explorers in there. We'd have to add a town to that land or a blight to C6, which cascades. Is it okay if I let B5 blight? It's only 1 Dahan dead, but there's already enough Dahan in there to push around and do searching. And I lose my presence, I get a blight, but I'm putting Sacred Site most likely in B4 or something. I mean, the thought was originally that I was going to explore to C3, but I already have visibility with Drift Down if I did that. I'm just going to click this card and then we can change our minds later. Plant do anything? It does hit the threshold on punish, so yeah, it does do something. C8's still at risk of searching because they're building a city, and if they explore wetlands, that's a search. Can't exactly do anything about that, though. I don't want to go into C8 because I think my powers are stretched thin at the moment, so I guess I go into here and then I can push the Dahan with Sacred Site next turn into C4. So the problem with this, defend C2, concealing shadows B5. Oh, I'm also concealing shadows B5, so I'm not even losing Dahan, unless I still want to do it in C6. That costs an energy. But we're getting the Dahan in C2. Oh no, we're moving this Dahan out anyway, so no, it's not. That's not a problem. I guess no, I can't do it another way. Yeah, I'll just do it. That's fine. It's fine. Is it fine? Maybe I want to kill the town. I guess I could use command beasts to stop the ravage and or stop a blight in B5. 1 damage. Like, it's not gonna be exceptionally exciting, but we do have beast generation, so it can like be a big fear generation someday if we hold on to this. This beast is a bit sad because it's just gonna be a push. Unless we want it to stay, but it might as well push. I mean, there are fear cards that do things based on lands with beasts. But like, if I do want to like do concealing shadows here at the cost of 1 energy, probably better to hold on to that though, because I only have 2 free cards. I probably don't want to play both next turn. So, I mean, we're gaining a power card next turn, but I'm probably just going to save the energy then. There is a chance that we get that the fear card says defend 1 in lands with Dahan, which does nothing here, but stops the blight there. I think it's probably better to save the Dahan then. But I probably have done this a little differently. Probably, because we're getting information, so I should probably do the information first in case it changes anything. Is this as far back as we go? Is this now? Yeah, it's now spirit phase. Okay. So let's do the thing that might influence our next decisions first. It did not, so we just do the thing. I can't make up my mind on this. I guess we stop a blight and a presence that way. Oh, wait. I can't hit the thing. Buttons don't work. Buttons don't work. John? John? The buttons don't work. Did you do it? I don't know. I'm gonna rewind once. You'd like if I could do it now for some reason. Nope, can't do it. Bug report. I'm just gonna submit that. The buttons don't work. That's my bug. Switch to multiplayer public beta to continue. Yeah. Or don't command the beasts. I mean, it was like 50-50 whether I was going to command the beasts or not, right? but I didn't want to save that presence. So I submitted the feedback. Now I will quit the game. And now I am currently in the beta, but there's a different beta. Yeah, this is private beta. I want multiplayer public beta. Is killing my upload? No, it's not. Nice. Play. Now I'm just floating in the middle of nowhere land. Also, when I do this, you can see the green screen of it. I guess probably that's the first time I've like paid attention to that, but because like the green screen's actually like literally right here, like right here. But if I push it any farther back, like the shadows just from the room make it worse. Anyway, I agree. Zoom game. Now let's see if this works. It does. So now could I go back to the regular beta? Where do we want it? I guess we could put it in the wetlands because the fear card could say don't build in lands with beasts or something. And like defended, that doesn't have anything, so we don't spend the energy. I haven't used this yet. I didn't need it this turn. It affected nothing. Each player removes an explorer town from a land with disease. There were no lands with disease. Waste of a fear card. Wait, there was a land with disease. I mean, it had nothing in it, but there was technically a land with disease. The text was inaccurate. But anyway. Maybe the text was accurate. I just saw there was no land with disease, but maybe it said no lands with disease that could remove towns. I'm not losing, am I? 3 towns? Nope, we're fine. Coastal Explorer. Excellent. So B1 is fun. Also, with all of those builds, C3 is terrible. Now, we might be losing next turn. Because that is currently 12 towns. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. All right, well, let's do this. And interestingly, this can gather anything it wants to. But they're not doing anything in this stands, so it's these 3. Nothing. Nothing. Wow. Okay, do the 2 damage here. That stops 2 towns. But it also kills a Dahan. How are we gonna not die next turn? That's a question. Because we don't really have fast means of dealing with things. I got some trancing apparitions. That actually would be not bad. Except the wetlands are all taken, so they have to go into like B4, but that's fine. Stops the 2 towns in B3. If we can somehow deal with B1's Ravage too, but I guess that means we're getting a major power on Keeper. What's going on here? Guardian Serpent, I guess, also can get into, if we can get Dahan into B1. It's not enough because it's defend 4. And then C3 is just like, what the hell? I guess our punish doesn't have to be in a land I'm in. It can be a land at range 1. I was thinking B6 because of course they're ravaging there, but that's just gonna kill 1 town. And then Spreading Wilds is currently range 1, can be range 2, but because it's France, it's not 100% effective. All in all, we have to start destroying shit, is what the story is. In order to play 3 cards with Keeper, I need to place 2 presents, so I can't, like, reclaim if I want to do that. Unless the reclaim is stronger than 2 presents. But I probably want to do Major Power. That said, if I'm playing 3 cards, and I have 5 energy, this is 4 energy right here. It's not good enough. Like, B6 is just not going to be defended unless we get something ridiculously strong, so... Punish probably should be in a land. That would be slightly better in, like, B1. Like, I wanted to do Sacred Site in C2 into C4, or push the Dahan into C4 to search that, because there's still 2 mysterious powers left, and they are over here. So it's a 67% chance we get a mysterious power. And if we were to get the leather sack and remove everything in 1 land from the game, like, I think B6 would be a prime candidate for it. But would there be other shift presence from Sands another anytime? I don't know. Only 2 damage, which either destroys a town or prevents 2 towns. Probably just here. Because the Dahan here have to be pushed, but if I do it here... Although the plan was originally that that was going to be entrancing apparitions, but we could entrancing apparitions into C4 instead from C2. Range 1, but if we use the power boost, which I don't see why we're not at this point. Plus 2 points doesn't matter if I'm dead. Do you have to win to get the plus 2 points? Let's see. At the end of the game. Doesn't say you have to win. So if you expect to lose, you should not use any of your things, so you get a higher score when you lose. But yeah, don't lose. And also, who cares about points? The annoying thing about Spreading Wilds here is that it's not really going to do anything for... Like, it does stop a town, but it doesn't put a wilds, but that's okay. Like, our priority right now is to stop towns. Taken care of. Keep thinking if I can do something with the Dahan in B1. Push Dahan into there. I'd have to reclaim rights in order to really do that. But like if I push from B2 into B1, I could use Concealing Shadows to make them take no damage. They don't wipe the land unless I push an Explorer out. In doing so, we stop 2 towns there, right? And we also destroy a town, so we'd be at 6 towns on our card. Or, no, not 6 towns, sorry, I'm not mathing right. We put 4 towns on the card, but 2 fewer towns that would be building. So it'd be 4 towns versus 8, which is still not perfect. Well, it's going to be 4 towns versus 6 because we're also going to do Concealing Shadows. So we'd have to remove 3 more towns to effectively prevent defeat. At this point, I don't really see why just do that. Because it does prevent a town, and that is really important right now. Push and explore town per Dahan. That solves this. We also have a range 1 defend 10, and it has Moon and Fire on it. Which doesn't help. I would really like to take the elements, though. Is there a world in which we can take the elements, though? Depends on what Keeper finds. If I forego 3 card plays and I take even more energy so I can take a major and play something else, would that make sense? No, I guess we're reclaiming. In which case I'm not getting a power on here because keep growing. Because we want to do the sacred site here, right? So, but now the thought is I don't have to put the presence in C4 to search the land. I put 2 more Dahan into C3, and then we can push 4 explorers out with Call to Isolation. Yeah, there's no way I can not do that. I might have a million energy, but yeah, if I have a million energy, I'm not taking that then. I'm pushing B2 to B1. That stops a build there entirely, which is also nice. We have sacred sites in the right places for this to matter as well. Doesn't seem like it. The other thing would be 2 damage and C7 to stop, to just destroy another town. Or C6 or wherever. C8. I'll hit that for now and then I'll figure it out based off this. But we're definitely doing Call to Isolation. We're definitely doing Entrancing Apparitions. Moonfire enables us to oh, did I need to defend B1? Honestly, don't remember what my plan for B1 was other than... Was the defend here? The defend wasn't there. The only way we can prevent the Dahan from dying then would be Concealing Shadows, but is that going to be enough? I guess we could just prevent a build in the land. Actually, hold on. I'm thinking of doing this to push Dahan, but maybe... It's like I could just prevent the build in C3, but I don't think that's... I don't foresee how that would be helpful. Because it doesn't get the Dahan in B1 is the problem. There's also the escalation is the problem. We're probably going to have to do Blight Cascades or Not even Blight, just Blight, which might be Cascades. And that's just gonna be terrible. So where should these go? Not into C4, not into B3, not into C2. So it's either here or here. And if they explore mountains next, then this is a even terrible land? Sure. Let's hedge our bets. Not even hedge bets. Hedge bets would be to put it 2 different places, but... Oh. Entrancing apparitions in C4 seems like a mistake now. So currently, if I destroy a town and I entrancing apparitions out of C2, then we therefore... Actually, no, we're losing the town in B1. And they're not building in B1, which this is accounting for stuff that's not accounted for yet. So it says build a town this turn, but that's not accounting for the fact that there's gonna be nothing in there. So it's gonna be 1 less town build and 1 more town on the card. So it's actually 4 towns right now and 4 builds. Also, the island is currently blighting. It's currently blighting. I don't like entrancing apparitions into C4 because that's a 67% chance that if they explore jungle, it's a source of power. It's a 25% chance they explore jungle. It's a 67% chance that it will be source of power, but they also have a 25% chance of exploring C8. Oh no, there's a wilds there. They won't. Okay, never mind. Makes me wonder whether I should have put a Dahan into C3. I only put enough to push 1 explorer, but... Or push all the explorers, but if I put an extra in there and then I entrancing apparition... But I can't because I can't entrancing apparitions before I pull the isolation, that's the problem. Guess I have to gamble that they don't do jungles. Or if they do, it's not a source of power. We could do the math here. 2/3 chance that the jungle has a source of power. And it's a 1/4 chance that they explore jungle. That's a 1/6 chance that they find a source of power in jungle this turn. A 1/6 chance. Like Russian roulette. But next turn with Keeper, I could potentially grow into C3 and put Sacred Sight there to push the things into C4, maybe. Maybe. Three towns, 3 builds, yeah. Oh! Surprise! Slave Rebellion exists even without events. Surprise the thing you know. I did not know. Well, I mean, I probably could have known. I did not know this worked even without events. Okay. Fair enough. So we actually have an event. Unfortunately, we did not set up for this at all because we didn't know this was happening, so... Yeah, now I know. I can convert this to a Dahan. That's the only land with Dahan that has a town in it. Right? And then everything else is... like, the wetlands would just expire the blight and not do anything. I guess it has to be on this board anyway. I guess the best bet would be this because it's ravaging next, but I don't know if that is even gonna make a difference. Also, Slave Rebellion is now... it's still there! Just to remind you that Slave Rebellion exists. Island is blighted. It is memory fades to dust because it's not an event. We don't have events, so we don't get the fancy event blight cards. Alright, we have 3 towns left. Oh, God. So they're doing matins, huh? So how many towns are they building here? Oh, shit. 12 towns. Okay. Okay. I mean, theoretically, we can defend this. No, we can't defend it. Theoretically, though, Sacred Site would defend it. And the plan was for me to put Sacred Site here anyway, so I'm just gonna do that. Although I guess I was gonna do... Wishless Dahan was the thing. Maybe not, but... But no, defending there in some capacity is better because it gets rid of the town versus the town in C7, which would still persist. Blight and Seat in B2 is probably better. I think we need to not put a town down. That one town may or may not difference. We can push 1 explorer. That stops 1 town. And I feel like this has to go here. I don't think we're in good shape right now. I am definitely not at the point where I'm saying I think we'll be fine. Like, it's definitely major power on Keeper next turn. That's what's happening. I don't know what Shadows is doing. Potentially he could kill 2 explorers, but it's still gonna gather 1. I think it's once again just stop 1 of these explorers from doing a thing. And assuming this is defended, this is enough. Like, defend 4. Well, actually, we can't. We need a Sacred Site in there, but we also don't want the Sacred Site in here because we need Dahan in there. What kind of trash game is this? We also have, like, no fast powers. Damn. Alright, you're just gonna go into the wetlands. And the very first thing I'm just gonna do is click this and take major. And figure out what the hell we're doing next. Alright. Unlock the gates. That doesn't seem like it's gonna work because we don't have... Like, we're not in a situation where we can just skip this turn, so we can't just take a major power and do stuff with it. The other problem, though, is that none of these are fast except for Unlock the Gates and Vengeance of the Dead, and Vengeance of the Dead is a trash card. After each effect that destroys town cities, Dahan, 1 damage per town city Dahan destroyed. Well, you know, B7 has literally none of those, so that doesn't help the million town builds there, so that's great. Growth through sacrifice doesn't help. Sap the strength does defend C3. Land of Haunts and Embers. Why are these powers so much better than these powers? I clicked the wrong deck, apparently. Growth through sacrifice would let shadows put a sacred site in C3. And then Keeper doesn't need that sacred site in C3. We can defend C3 that way. And it gives Moon and Fire, so it's good. So does Land of Haunts and Embers. Defending C3 is good. And our current means of defending C3 would require Guardian Serpents, but tap the strength would also do it, but not give elements. If we get elements, we can, like, try to mitigate B7, but, like, mitigate is not a good word when there's 8 towns building, so... I could reclaim for rights of the land's rejection and put Dahan in here. Which we could just do by doing the sacred site anyway, but we need the Dahan in here is the problem. I can't... We can't exactly let this Ravage go and not let things die. Like, that has to kill things. And I don't know what we're doing with B2 other than Cascade, and I don't know what we're doing with C1 other than Cascade. I could take another power with Keeper. I only need to place 1 presence to get the 3 card plays. If there is going to be a billion Blight on the board, Land Thrashes is a good pick if we can get to the slow phase. Sweep into the sea would also destroy things along the coast. So, like, C1 is going to have 3 towns and an explorer in it. Could just be swept into the sea. Gives a sun and an air. Air's not really that important, but it does. And Thrashes would do... Actually, would do more damage, wouldn't it? Considering there's just gonna be a million Blight. I guess it's just Land Thrashes on virtue of the fact that there's a million Blight on this board right now, so I'm just gonna take Land Thrashes. And... I've yet to use Towering Wrath, and it's expensive. And I have to keep destroying presence. I don't know that I'm really able to use it. I'm just gonna forget Towering Wrath, as stupid as it is. I feel like it's a stupid decision, but I'm gonna do it. And you can't stop me. Until you stop me. I don't know how we're dealing with these sources of power. Because I can't get Dahan in the right places for them. I'll put a presence here and then next turn do the sacred thing. Because I'm doing this, right? For another major. Terrifying Nightmares. That stops 4 towns outright. Also sea monsters, which is not helpful for the fast phase. Flow like water. Does that do anything? Oh, it has to be terrifying monsters, or terrifying nightmares. We would take unrelenting growth if we weren't losing this turn. But terrifying nightmares just solves B7. Don't forget regrow because we have land thrashes. Okay, I have to play this. I have to play that. And I get to play one more card, and it's not land thrashes. Think about that in a second. So, growth or sacrifice is needed for the sacred site in C3. Get that sacred site, I need to do this. Play this, and can I get away with that? Now I think I need to play 2 moon cards, one of which is fire, so it's either Crop's Wither or Mantle of Dread. Probably Crop's Wither. Favor's Called Due, and we can push the Dahan there. Now, Darkness Swallows destroys 2 Explorers. Terrifying Nightmares then stops B7 altogether. Guardian Serpents defends C3. So we have successfully done nothing for the Ravage except for C3. And I think we're probably still losing, because they're still building B2. And that's 2 towns. We're destroying 1, but then the escalation is going to add more towns. I can play more powers, right? Play that one. Go into the wetlands. Just make a wetland party. Alright. Destroy a presence or forget a power. We're gonna destroy presence, I think. That one makes the most sense for shadows. Get that one. Add strife in a land with beast disease, Dahan. None of those is B2. C3 is defended. C1 has none of those. B2 has none of those. So it's basically like, where do we expect the slave rebellion to occur? I'm just gonna put things here. Choose for me. Oh yeah. Guess we lose that presence. Aha! Three blight left on the card. 1 town left on the card. And we lose because they did sands and there's no buildings in B for us to do things with. Well, that's a sad way to lose. Oh! We haven't lost. Never mind. It's not if there are no towns on the card, it's if you can't place a town. So we're still alive! Still alive! You know, we have 1 blight, but We would have lost if I selected C2 though and let that town build was the thing, so that makes sense. Okay. Well, I don't know yet how we're dealing with B2, but we can at least get sources of power here. Aha! -3 damage per land next normal ravage. We enable it. So that doesn't solve B2, but it does mean we're not dead in the ravage. We have 2 suns, so we can push 1 explorer. In a land without blight. Crops Wither, which is range 1, is fun. That's actually, that looked like it was a town, city, and explorer, but is a secret town! It's a secret town! So we lose the game if we convert the city to the town. So don't do that, that's wrong. What we're doing is to convert a town. Is there a place where converting a town would make sense? Not in a place where they're building, because that would just replace with a town anyway. I guess it's just gonna have to be like B2, and we figure out how to mitigate that ravage a bit more. Gather into your land, damage per Dahan present would be enough to stop the build in B5. We don't have enough, like, we can't get sources of power here because we don't have enough presence in there. And this is so limited in what we can do. Apparently, blighting the island was dangerous. Who would have thunk? Well, we have to do this, I guess, for wilds then. So jungle or wetland. Can't do those. I do that one, so B8 would be the only one there. Or C4. I do B8 because they already have explorers there. And I guess I will. Oh, I guess because I could hit use here. So how do we not lose the game? Land thrushes can be helpful next turn, but we have to not die to the ravage, which means we need B2 defended. That is not a mountain, so I can't defend it that way. And Guardian Serpents is not enough to defend. Rights to the Land's rejection might stop us from losing in the build if there were Dahan in places, but they're not right now. Also, my presence is terrible on this board because I can't put presence in lands with blight, and so all of these are kind of off limits to keeper. It seems like I have to kind of go for another major. Land Thrashes isn't gonna work. Terrifying Nightmares actually would stop these. It would stop C6. I will give you that. I reclaim all and get to 4 cards. Like, yes. Or if that's the wise play there. Shadows, do you need to reclaim? Would entrancing operations help? Defend C3 and then move the 2 explorers out, stops the build there. So supposedly it does. All the isolation, there's no Dahan in places. Would creating a sacred site with keeper somehow help? That's kind of tricky. Because I can't, except for C3, which is... Maybe we want that Dahan to kill the 2 explorers, but... And also, we can hit your thing here. Is it going to be helpful? We have to, like, kill towns somehow. Like, we're just... We're maintaining the status quo right now. We're not actually like progressing towards victory. Terrifying Nightmare C6, all C6. Transing Operation stops C2. Oh, we still have to defend B2 is the problem. Which is how much it is, 7 damage. We can't get a Sacred Site there. So do we go for something that defends, maybe? Or a major that would change the situation a bit more? Problem with the major on Keeper is that Terrifying Nightmares plus Land Thrashes is already pretty expensive. Like, we're absolutely playing Terrifying Nightmares. Land Thrashes would do, like, 8 damage in C1. And that would do quite a lot to get towns off the board. But it doesn't help with B2. It stops us from losing in the next turn, but we need to not lose this turn. And we're currently losing to any blight that's placed, and even removing one blight doesn't help because this is a triple cascade if it blights. Or technically a double cascade, but it's 3 blight. Triple blight, double cascade. Can Shadows take a major? Probably. I mean, yeah, you kind of have a lot of free cards. You can get away with it. Trancing Operations costs 1. That's the only thing you're playing right now that matters. So Shadows takes major. Indomitable Claim stops B2. Insatiable Hunger loses us the game. Dissolve the Bonds doesn't help with B2. Pyroclastic Flow stops B3. Yeah, I'm just gonna do major with Keeper as well. Blazing Renewal helps a lot. 2 damage to each building in that land. That helps tremendously. It's absolutely this. Infinite Vitality is also good because it stops Blight from being added. But Blazing Renewal, like, we have Destroyed Presence. And we're always going to have Destroyed Presence with this Blight card. Volcanic Eruption is bad. Savage Transformation is not helpful. So it has to be Blazing Renewal. And for this we need Fire, Earth, Plant if we want that threshold, which would be nice if we could hit it somehow. Unfortunately, we can't hit it this turn because we have to play Terrifying Nightmares. And we have to play Blazing Renewal. And actually, we can't do all of that, so maybe it's not as easy as we thought. Problem with Blazing Renewal is the fact that it costs 5 and Terrifying Nightmares costs 4, and I'm not placing presence this turn. Sure. Back for a second. No. I mean, get back for a second? I not get... I just... I'll click this. Alright, now I can look at this. I wanted to get this UI back. How screwed up. So not only do we have to not blight the island with the Ravage, we also can't blight the island with the escalation. Which means we have to put 2 towns with the escalation. So like we absolutely need Blazing Renewal to put towns back on the card. We also, I guess this is only 1 town. Not terrible if that, like, it does pose a problem next turn, but this whole game has been a whole let's wait until next turn to deal with these problems. Probably because I'm playing terribly. Ever think about that one? Ever think about the fact that I'm playing terribly? It's always Indomitable Fame. I can't click anything else there. Oh, Sealing Shadows is not going to do anything anymore. So that into B2 solves B2. That's the good news. Doesn't stop B3 is the other problem. And we're not hitting the thresholds for innates, so we're not actually hitting... We're not stopping this from happening, so like 1 town there, 1 town there. There are 3 towns in here. We'll have 4 towns on the card. They're putting 2 builds, and I guess we could then add explorers that way. The other thing was you have to stop the build in C2, which means that we're doing entrancing apparitions. C3. So the only way we can do any gathering which prevents a 1 town build would be to do Growth through Sacrifice. Now, is there... So what is the range on Blazing Renewal? Up to range 2 from your presence? It could go into B6, it can go into C1. And both are open because both are potentially explored next turn. I guess B6 would then be able to be hit with Punish. I think this is a reclaim because I can't play both of these cards in my hand either. I think I have to do that, and then always play that. Fortunately, we can't play 3 Earth Moon cards, or Fire Earth cards. Although, even the 3 I can't say words. Even the 3 Fire Earth cards are not, they don't have plant on them. But you have an innate plant, so actually that's not the problem. We don't need Guardian Serpents. If there is a way to get Dahan in places for Rides of the Land's rejection, we could prevent a build that way. And actually, if Keeper were to get a presence off of Growth Through Sacrifice and put a Sacred Site in C3, we could then get a Dahan in B3 and thereby prevent that build. So I think that's good. So now what? I want to probably do damage in B6, so I need to play a Sun card to hit Punish. It's on fire. or Sun Plant rather, would actually also hit +1 damage per icon. So it's going to be either Sacrosanct or Pact. Are there any wilds left on the board? There's one in C8, but it has Blight. And in fact, most of these lands are blighted, so it's actually kind of trash. But it can push Dahan. Actually, I don't need Growth Through Sacrifice to go into B3 then. Act might be a bit better if we can make sure Dahan are in a good place, but our presence is a bit thin right now. If they explore jungle though, then C4 is really good. Because that's like obviously 5 damage there. And with the explorers plus town that they would put in there, it would be good, at least do a lot of damage there. Sacrosanct Wilderness would just push 2 Dahan, but that's not going to do much. Yeah, I'm going to do Pact with the Dahan army we have. Cross my fingers and hope to not lose. I don't think we're losing just yet, though. Up to range 2 from your presence. That just has my presence in there right now. But we are trying to do Growth Through Sacrifice with... I guess the thing is, if I destroy that presence for the Blight card, then I can't hit that with Punish. I'm not even range 1 from there. And Shadows currently has a lot of presence on the board, so I guess it's myself on this. And then Growth Through Sacrifice on Keeper again. Try that one. Add a presence here. I'm gonna go for more card plays. Do that. Rights of Land Rejection to not build. One more fear and we get another fear card, but I don't think we're getting it. Just gather 1 explorer. Let's just place 1 presence? Oh. That's fine. Alright, now... Prancing here. We're not building there. We can stop one of the towns building there by gathering this guy. -3 damage doesn't need to be used this turn, so that's good. All right. Still alive. Each town destroys an explorer in its land. I don't think that actually stops any town builds, but hey. They removed some of the extra explorers that was causing problems. There's just 1 build, and they're doing jungles. So we actually profited towns this round, so that's good. You get to choose how you lose. Hey, I don't think it's that bad just yet. I think we're fine. Pending the event. Starting to think we might be okay. They're not building there, but that's still like... That city should be wiped out. And Pact absolutely needs to go here. Okay, so right now what's happening is they're only building 1 town. Yes, they're only building 1 town. We're not losing to the build. We also are getting 4 Blight with 1 Blight in the card, so yeah. The Sands Ravage we need to solve next. All the jungles are blighted, so spreading wilds isn't doing anything. Except we could just put wild somewhere. It is now stage 3. I can't look at the event cards to remember exactly when stuff happens, but I think we get the stage 3 explorer, and then we get this next slave rebellion. So we don't lose... We just have to solve the ravage, and then we don't necessarily lose to the jungle ravage. Also, they're not escalating anymore, so we don't have to worry about escalation factors. We want Dahan and C5 for the Slave Rebellion, by the way. Like, that's currently where the strife is. And also, I guess the city could be strifed and dealt damage or something, so we want Dahan and C6 somehow as well. You know, all these pipe dreams. But now wilds will mean they don't put buildings and crap in there, so... let's just, like, do it. Do it here. Would -3 damage on the next ravage stop us from losing? I think it would not, because it's 7 damage. So C6 is the next thing we have to solve. Which, just reclaiming Indomitable Claim... This is range 1, but that is range 3 away from you right now, so that doesn't work. We could claim B3 and not worry about that one, so now we just have to solve C6. Verifying Nightmares does not work. Blazing Renewal? If I can hit the threshold on it. Actually, Blazing Renewal plus the thing, yeah. Yep, that would solve C6. Indeed. Actually, not even that. We could just do Guardian Serpents. Because there would be a Sacred Site in there. We could do Indomitable Claim B3 and Guardian Serpent C6. 2 majors to solve 1 land. Exactly. But I'm thinking at this point, Keeper's taking minors. Like, 7 cards, 4 card plays. I think Keeper's taking minors. I think the majors are fine. We just have to kind of buff them up with minors that give the elements for them. And Blazing Renewal is just like, do that every turn. But we're claiming on both of these. I guess it's a question of presence or power. Theoretically, I could also just reclaim 1. Am I playing all of these cards? Not necessarily. Dahan and B4 prevents a build there with, like, Rights of the Land's rejection, for instance. This one's just a city. It's just a city. The green screen being close is fun because you have a shadow that goes right on the game. Right, because I'm like doing like this stuff here. Shadow on the game. Rah! Shadow on the game. Yeah. If I had more space in my room and I had money to get like better lighting, I would definitely like put the green screen like probably 10 feet back and just light up the green screen with lights so that I don't have to worry about shadow effects. But I am very limited on both right now, space and money. You like the shadow? Well, thank you. Command beasts, would that do anything? Beasts are currently not in like great places. Holy moly, that's like a million fair cards to get to stair level 3. If I do presence, I get another energy off this, and I can even take 2 more energy here. So if I reclaim and take energy and 2 more energy, like that's 3 plus 7 is 10 energy, and then I might actually be able to hit thresholds more easily. Let me like try this for a second. Considering that I can actually work independently of Shadows now, so like if Shadows does decide on a major, I could, or not a major but a reclaim, I could always rewind the keeper part, even if it's done before. This still has a wilds in it. I can still grow here. Wow. They didn't explore wetlands in all that time, despite it being a blighted land, so I can actually grow into C8, and that is probably the correct play. Because where else am I growing? Like, it's not actually as important as normal because I have +1 range, so I don't have to, like, be on lands to punish. But considering that, like, this is Blighted Isle over here, the best way for me to get close to things over here is to be in C8. That really helps, like, this puts me closer to C6 and C8, which is a really nice thing. But now I have 10 energy, so if I do this, and I play all the things that have Moon Earth on them, I do 4 damage in a land, so... is that going to be necessary? I mean, it cleans up C1 really nice. Like, that just stops the build in C1 entirely. It doesn't stop C6 just yet. This card Sands? It is Sands. I could defend B3 with Drift Down, and then do 2 majors to solve C6, as mentioned. It is free as well. Moonfire. Like, are we gonna get the last source of power? Or no? You're still only on 3 card plays. All of these cost 1 energy, so it's unlikely to be used this turn anyway. One damage per Dahan, though. That's a pseudo major power. Alright, so you have to play that. And then you have to defend. Then get your choice of what else. You don't have 2 sun. Also, you don't have a sun. You're not really doing much here anyway, but placing renewal threshold's really strong. I also have a land Thrashes, which also is strong in board C. So things are turning around now. That's for sure. I think I think I'll keep this for next turn. The Call to Isolation, keep it for next turn and do Growth through Sacrifice. So this is range 1, right? Roll range 2 technically, but we can do this to go there. And then you claim there. And then sacrifice. Have rights to land rejection, I guess that exists. The intention was I was going to push Dahan, and then I didn't. I guess I could push Dahan, but I guess their building B4 was the problem. Actually, yeah, I'm not doing growth through sacrifice then. As long as I get one Dahan in B4, I can prevent the build. Okay, we're not losing. 0 build. Nice! And 0 blight. And there's no event card to screw us up. Alright, that seems nice. You don't need that. Finally, we're in control. Like, I think about this a lot with Spirit Island. But, like, the whole growth aspect, like the whole, like, we're putting presence on the board, like, basically we have a set power level up to, like, how we decide to play the game, but we're growing over the course of the game. And, like, our decisions influence, like, the rate of growth. Like, if we're a terrible player, our growth is either flat or barely an incline, or maybe even also downhill if you're if you just take terrible majors and lose your starter hand and all that. But ideal play, you obviously have some rate of growth. But the difficulty with the adversaries, like the invaders also have a set level of power that varies, but it tends to go up or down based on where they explore and build and ravage and how you deal with that. But with the difficulties and the adversaries and the scenarios, basically change like where their starter level of power is and how much they can go up and down and whatnot. And I think, like, for the super high level adversaries, it's like your level of power is always like the same at the start of the game, but the adversaries like go way high up, and it's like it's a question of whether you can increase your power growth far higher than the invaders' power is, even with their handicaps that they have, before you lose the game. And like being at 1 blight with 0 towns on the card, I think we had the exact the exact balance there to prevent that loss. Of course, better players would have not been in this situation, I suppose. But you can only do so much. I think this land. This one. Both the same land. Delete from Dahan land so you can move them with presence placement. Yeah, that would be a good play too. See, that's how we could lose the game, or how we could improve on our game. Haha. Oh well. It would make sense to do that, but that's fine. Everything's fine. I also can't rewind anymore, so I can't go back. So it has to be fine. Invaders take 1 damage per Dahan. Choose a different land with Dahan. Well, that is great because this is the only land where it matters. Defend 2 and gain 1 energy per sacred site with invaders, which is like 1 per, I guess. Actually, it would have been 2 per, except we destroyed 2 sacred sites. Nice. Alright, and allegedly we have the Slave Rebellion next turn. Also, the card's gone. Huh. You're just here in the backseat. You know, I could turn this car around, you know. It cleared up when I used undo. Ah, cool. Alright, jungle followed by jungle sand, so... And the defend numbers are because of the fear card, so they're gonna go away. But, like, this is... Like, even if they blight that, they kill the invaders. Also, we lose the game, but... Target land has no Explorers ahead of wilds is all this is, so it's gonna be there. Cool. I could have doubled wilds there, but let's just spread it out. So where's the best place for this? Probably C6, because I would presume that's 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 damage versus what looks to be a city, 2 towns, and an explorer, and that's enough damage. That's cool. Land Thrashes was nice. I guess we don't have to defend every land. We could do -3 damage per land. And right now that would be enough to prevent the blight loss. And they're only building 9 towns and we have 8 on our cards, so preventing any one of them and we're fine. But what if I do these same cards next turn? Like, if I play these cards for the rest of the game, plus gain some extra energy, but like, if I do Reclaim and place Presence and get 2 more energy that way, and I take another energy track thing, maybe? Maybe? Do I need that? 1, 2, 3, 7 is 10. This costs 10. So I would probably need to take off energy track and play a card that costs 1 energy, which is going to be Pact or Blazing Renewal, or Guardian Serpents, not Blazing Renewal. Pact would give me like the thresholds I missed this turn. I think that means that Keeper's basically done growing. I mean, not done growing, but like his plays are pretty set. Shadows could reclaim Indomitable Claim every turn. That's basically placing his presence every turn. Blazing Renewal counters the Blight card effect. So we're not really losing presence on the board each turn. The issue with playing Indomitable Claim every turn is the fact it costs 4 energy and I only have +4 every turn. But I think we're starting to be fine despite the fact that there's like builds and stuff happening this turn. Because like Blazing Renewal into either B3 or B4 with the threshold kills that and stops the build as well. Probably B4, except there are ways of making B4 not be a problem otherwise. Yeah. Gift of Constancy, and then I don't have to reclaim, or I don't have to... Ooh, Invader skip all actions? Would that be better? Gift of Constancy goes well with Indomitable Claim. Do I have another Earth card, though? I don't. Oh, I do. Never mind. I have Drift Down. Defend 1 in C4, and then that's enough defend, so that actually works. Alright, sure. Who needs shadows to play shadow cards? So, like, prevent any action in B3 then, I guess. And defend C6 or C5 or C4 rather, and Constancy, which allows us to reclaim cards and not have to. Yeah, I think that means then Shadows could actually gain energy next turn and play more than just these cards. Cool. Also, you get 1 more card. Nice. You get 1 more card, Shadows. Growth. You can actually do both in that land. Are we removing Blight, though, with Land Thrashes? I just like the idea of putting presence in a blighted land. I find that really funny. So... I guess the thing with Drift Down, though, is that we're already doing -3 damage. But do we need that, I guess, is a question. Also, this is allegedly the slave rebellion turn. So is there any way to get a city to have things? What were the cards I discarded? They involve moving Dahan? They did. This also gives us Sun and Earth. So this says destroy a town on each board, add a strife to any 2 buildings. Every invader takes 1 damage per strife it has. And invaders with strife take 1 damage per Dahan present. So like if I could get 2 Dahan in B2 and we strife a city. Oh, wait, hold on. Destroy a town, add a strife to any 2. So we could strife the city and the town. And they would both convert to Dahan. Right, is that... Let me double check that. Let me make sure I'm reading this correctly, because I always misread crap, so I want to be sure I'm correct here. On each board. So on that board, destroy a town, add a strife to any 2 buildings. Yeah. So it could destroy the town in B4. Strife B2. Get Dahan in there. So I would actually want to choose a different card here. Pick that one. Now it is a question of whether I want to push a Dahan, because a Dahan push into C5 and then they both convert, like, even without the strife. So we want the Dahan in C5 for sure. Rights of the Land's rejection, I guess, pushes, doesn't it? It does. How much damage per Dahan is it? It's like invaders with strife take 1 damage per Dahan present. So it's like it's not the Dahan dealing damage, it's this buildings taking damage based on the number of things in their land. Kind of cool. So it would be really nice if I had destroyed this presence earlier so I could get Dahan into C5 that way. Oh well. I don't think I can get into C8. I think at most I can get 1 Dahan in C8. Would Sacrosanct work? No, because that land's blighted. But what if I Blazing Renewal in there and go through Sacrifice to remove the blight? Galaxy Brain! But no, I don't think we've actually solved the Ravage problem otherwise. Yeah, we haven't actually worked towards solving the Ravage problem. Unless we take the -3 damage. In any case, we're thinking about the Slave Rebellion, but not in ways that makes this Ravage any nicer if we ignore it. Blazing Renewal into B4. Promises of Protection into B2. Indomitable Claim into B3. I mean, I guess I could do Claim instead into C1. It stops the Ravage and the build. So it stops 2 towns. How many builds is this turn, by the way? 10 towns, 2 cities. Yeah, because it's the double explorer. We're not really like good at solving multiple explorers right now, so I don't think that this extra Dahan is going to do anything. Unless I wanted to use rights to, like... I guess we only need one Dahan in C5. I could push 2 into C7, and then an extra 1 into C7 to search. I think that's better than, like, any other option here. We could do Command Beast to kill an Explorer to stop a town. I don't know if that makes sense. Yes! Alright, we found them all, and they are all ours. Yes! And spirits may shift their presence from a sands to another at any time. That is great for all of our sands presence. We have 1 in C6, and that's it. Actually, it'll be slightly more after we're done. Gotta love it anytime. Yeah, John loves that phrasing so much. Now they're not doing anything in this land. I thought I was gonna... Actually, maybe I was gonna do that in C1, wasn't it? Like, this is a city and a town. This is a ravage and 2 towns. Unfortunately, that's not sands, so I can't move that presence away, but I can destroy it with the Blake card, at least. Yeah, so then I don't need the -3 this turn. I do this. Hey, I can push a Dahan. Look at me, I'm pushing a Dahan. Like, we don't need it there. How many builds are happening now? 7 towns? That's fine. That's fine. I mean, it's actually less because that's there's not 2 towns there. Punishes how much damage? It's 4 damage. And it can work in B5. Or B3 or C2. That's the only other damage other than Pact. But no one's in that sands. Oh, wait. No. There is someone in that sands. So actually Pact in B5 would be 3 damage, which would kill a town and a explorer and leaves 1 town. Which I guess is fine. Command beasts and then we don't have another town to deal with? Yeah. We're not close to the next fear cards. I'm just gonna kill extra explorers. Oh, but not that. That's fear. This one needs to be fear, though. Fear there, and then damage. And now we don't need the -3, so we're done. I don't need to destroy this one anymore. But I might as well, because it's the only land that's not blighted. And isn't... Yeah. Hey, it's Slave Rebellion. I guess one of those towns actually got, they had to put a strife on this town here, and it died because it had 2 strife, so that's fair. No city builds on coastal? Well, I don't think they were, because we accidentally did too much. Each land with Dahan defend 1, plus an additional defend 1 per Dahan. Cool. Yeah, we're definitely fine at this point. I think we're fine. I think we'll be fine. They finally did wetlands. Keep on doing what you're doing, buddy. Of course, there's the problem that there's now going to be 17 towns next turn. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to exaggerate. It's 14 towns. But what buildings are left? 2 here, 1 there, 2 there, a city there. But we're 8 fear away from terror level 3, so kill the city and get enough fear and we're fine. Well, Pact is still happening here, right? Like, Land Thrashes now doesn't really have a good place other than here. Like, we could kill the city with it, but that's a waste. Probably just gonna kill the city with this. Which is also a waste, but less of a waste, because this was 2, 3, 4, 5 damage there versus 2, 3, 4, 5 damage there. Yeah. Those are the last 2 buildings. We just have to kill them with Blazing Renewal and we win. So... GG. Well, actually, I do push someone, I guess. Huh. I didn't even notice there's an Explorer there, to be honest, but... I'm only pushing 1 Explorer at range 3 and putting a Wilds if there's no one, and it doesn't matter, but you know. Sure. Because of second wave, we'll put Wilds there. All right, yeah. Oh, I don't even have enough energy to play anymore. That's fine. So, what would we rename Shadows here? Because he's only playing Sun and Earth cards. So instead of Shadows flicker like flames, he's like sunny mountains shine like canyons. I don't know. He's a very sunny mountain spirit today. There's more destroyed presence right now. Shadows does. Tall mountains cast stark shadows. That's the spirit. All right. Oof. Yeah, we definitely hit the point where we were about to lose, and we managed to scrape together the win at that point. But we got 58 points, which is 4 too many, so we should have like done 2 more turns to lose 2 points. The trees are on fire! Yeah, the Keeper of Forbidden Wilds turned into fiery forests, didn't he? Remember, only you can prevent forest fires. Or you can just Blazing Renewal into your forest. Yeah, so we got +2 points, right? Because of the unused spirit benefit. So I should have used it, I guess. So we would have lost 2 points, but never did the -3 damage in the land. We did use the shifting presence from sands, and it did work for the last turn. Ours having +1 range did influence a lot because Keeper was able to do punish in lands he was not in, which is nice. But yeah, that was France 3. Jeez. And the difficulty on this scenario is just 1. It was technically a difficulty 8 game. Yeah, difficulty 8. We got all the benefits though, so like technically this was a negative difficulty game because we got all the benefits. But imagine that we did screw things up and we didn't focus on the Dahan, and we had to pay extra energy to gather or push invaders, and we didn't get the +1 range. And next turn, Spirits only got 1 card play, which probably would have lost us the game because we needed those cards. And for purposes of explore and build, invaders in any sands are considered to be in all sands. That makes builds terrible, doesn't it? Because it's like, this sands as an explorer. Therefore, build, 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 build. Town, city, town, city. Oh my god. Having to change your game to stop them getting benefits confers some difficulty because it makes you slow down early. Fair enough, because I definitely had to choose the Dahan pushing effects more than other effects that would have progressed the game per se. So, indeed. The benefits were where it was this jungle and this mountain had the last 2. I don't remember. It was on this board that had the first one. It was not here. It had to be here, right? And that was the +1 range one was in that sands, and then this one was transfer from any sands to another sands at any point, and this one was sorry, this one was -3 damage and a ravage. This one was transfer from one sands to another. So this one was the one effect we didn't use, but we got it earlier than the one that we did use, even though we only just got it. But if... like, the only one I was really scared about was this one, because it had, like... there's that turn where I was debating whether we put 2 explorers in it. And if they did explore in that, then it would have been only 1 card play next turn. Oops. This one. Yeah, we would have only gotten 1 card play on the next turn, and that would have been a terrible turn. We probably would have lost that turn, because we needed all the card plays in order to get the thresholds, in order for all the destruction to happen, so yeah. Alright, well, we did have some technical difficulties, but this was still a 2-hour, 22-minute stream. I'm gonna put this back down for the next stream, because I'm gonna forget to do it otherwise. I'll just need to remember to bring it up whenever I'm playing Spirit Island. I could try to do a Spirit Island source exclusive for Spirit Island instead, but currently my stream deck only has Dolphin's Dive intro, Dolphin's Dive game, Dolphin's Dive outro on it, so I'd have to be a bit more cognizant. But there are space for other buttons, to be sure. I just need to do things. But yeah, this was the first Monday Dolphin's Dive. We stream on Mondays now because I think I said this before, the technical difficulties, and I had to restart the stream. But Thursday was not going to be a good day to continue streaming on because I wake up early on Thursdays at like 7:30 to teach, and I also have to wake up at 8:30 the next day to teach, and I teach 2 classes that day. It just would have been terrible to have a Thursday stream. Tuesday and Friday and Saturday and Sunday are taken, so the only other options would be Monday and Wednesday, but Wednesday's also bad because of the fact that next day I have to wake up at 7:30, so Monday's the logical choice here. So I'm now in the time slot of what was formerly, was it On Deck? I think it was On Deck. I think it was On Deck with Pirate Savvy and Dover. I know it was Pirate Savvy and Dover, I don't remember the name of that stream. But it's the formerly On Deck stream, which turned into Luck of the Seamus, which has been moved to Friday and is now Dolphin's Dive. On Deck was historically Monday, yep. So I am now Dolphin's Dive on deck. On deck with Dolphin. I'm not gonna make that joke because it's their stream and I'm plagiarizing. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed your stay. Yeah, I've bounced between Thursday and Friday in the past, indeed. So it's the first time I'm early in the week instead of late in the week. So now I can say tomorrow you can watch Handelabra live. I can actually even be the lead, be like, you can catch other streams this week. You can catch Handelabra live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. with John. You can catch the next stream, which is now on Friday. I almost said Dolphins Dive, but that's not true anymore. You can catch Luck of the Seamus on Friday at 4 p.m. You can catch Spirit Island Saturday at 2 p.m. and you can catch Tales from the Archive every Sunday at 6 p.m. Handelabra products include Xandos the Multiverse, Bottom of the Ninth, One Deck Dungeon, Aeon's End, and Spirit Island, and they're all available on Steam, iOS, and Android devices. And One Deck Dungeon is also available on Switch if you are so inclined. Check us out on twitch.tv/Handelabra Games, or catch our YouTube videos on Handelabra, youtube.com/Handelabra. I don't know what the URL is. I don't think it's technically that. You can follow me at Logic Dolphin on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and pretty much any avenue. But thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed your stay. Have a good night. See ya.